It seems that you put yourself at the bottom of the list so that you can help your children, you can help your family, you can help others, but you should all take care of yourself. I'm not recommending that you do what I did, but I compromised wellness.
I think I was lucky where I really got into the CEO role and the vice president role when my children were grown. And not that I didn't work all of my adult life, but they were in college or they were married, and so I didn't have to worry about them as much. My poor husband, on the other hand, who has become very independent over the years, has been very understanding. And I have to laugh. I think back about we went to a meeting years ago, and the gal who's the head of Carol Lee Jewelry was on a panel, and she said, "If you don't have a husband who supports you in your business, get rid of him." I thought, wow, that's a little drastic. But, I think you have to have the support of your family because you can't do all the things. You can't go out for the lunches and the dinners and the conventions and the meetings, and they can't be sitting home waiting for you to pull out the frying pan and start a good dinner. So I was lucky in that respect. Yes, it's the same thing where you put yourself last with everything else. But I think that's the one thing that women have to stop doing is taking care of everyone else first and them last. Because if you die off, they're all going to be sitting there not knowing how to take care of themselves. So you might as well let them start doing it now.
So what you're both saying is that you need to have room for yourself, support and strengthen your own good health, balance. I mean, the whole concept, we all know this. Balancing life and family, please. There's no way. There's no way. There's no balance. We know that. But I think what you were both saying is that there are ways that you, or do what you say, not what you do. That's what you said. But I think you're doing that now.
Yeah,
so it's how do we take care of ourselves to enable us to do what we need to do for ourselves, for our families, and for our business. Let's talk about how we work with other people, relationships. The issues around how you work with your employees, how you work with your colleagues, and how you work with other people. That enabled you to be a leader. So what are some of the roles along the way that were significant in your life and your development as a corporate leader and as a community leader? Maybe that's too broad, but I'll dump it on you anyway. Let's start with Amelia on that.
So the situation I'm going to talk about is not dissimilar to what many women business owners experience. So the first opportunity I had as a leader within the Harris organization was when I ran a multiple line of business. And I had responsibilities for employees, I had responsibilities for customers, I had responsibility for budgets, I had responsibility, we were a publicly held company, so I had responsibility to shareholders. And it goes back to what Maureen was saying earlier, trying to get enough information so that you could, balancing the needs of all those groups, you could come up with the right decision for the company. That gave me the broadest experiences that all of you have every single day, where you have to take care of your customers, you have employees who need to be paid, who have to be taken care of, and I'm assuming that many of you are privately held, so at least you're the owner shareholder, so you have more ownership of that decision. But from a corporate perspective, that gave me the broadest experience in leading a group of people, balancing all the needs of all those groups. Other experiences that I had were my civic and philanthropic work. I learned a lot outside of the bank. about leadership and trying to lead to make our communities better, to make our political system better, is much harder than what I had to do at the bank on a day-to-day basis.
I think I was lucky in one way where I have been brought up in this business, and people know that I've worked practically in every department. So it helps when there's problems or conditions that I more or less know what I'm talking about. Things have changed over the last 40 years, but not that much. But I think what helped me the most in learning to be a leader and knowing how to treat people was I took off for 10 years and went into another industry, into manufacturing, because they closed the office in Los Angeles, and I still stayed out there because I had a family there, and worked, as I said, in another industry, and that taught me everything as to what the employees expect of their leadership, the bad bosses that some of the people had to work for. I was down in the cafeteria with the rest of them saying, boy, if they just asked us, we could tell them how this place really works. And I learned that you have to communicate with your employees. You have to let them know what's happening, because if you don't, they will decide for themselves what's happening, and usually it's not the right thing, or it's the negative instead of the positive. So I learned that we have to have employee meetings. It has to be the head person who talks to the employees and tells them what their thoughts are. You have to lead from the heart. They have to feel it, and they're not going to get that from their manager, their vice president, whatever. It has to be you that talks to them. So that was wonderful training for me.
So you're talking about transparency in your corporate life, in your business life, and collaboration so that people have input into what you are doing as a corporate leader, as a nonprofit leader. Now, but so you're really talking about how do you keep everything close to the vest, or do you discuss it with your employees so they have input and they're invested? That's what you're saying.
Well, we were a private company for very, very long. And so when you're a private company, you tend to keep things close to the vest because it's just like ingrained into you. And especially we have agents throughout the country. And so, sometimes they take a little bit of information, and it's like that old game telephone. By the time it gets out to California, it's completely different. So, but now we have just recently become an ESOP company. So I've had to learn to be a little bit more open with the financials and so forth. Luckily, they're in good shape. Otherwise, it could be embarrassing. But so, yeah, there's certain amounts that you have to share with your employees. If times are hard, you have to let them know. But there's certain things that are hard to share with employees because if they don't understand it completely, they walk away with a different thought than they should. So it's you are always kind of figuring how you're going to do this.
What do you consider the height of your accomplishment, Amelia? You're in trouble now.
Yeah, I know. I know. And I'm not saying it. Even if Hetty wasn't in the room, I would be answering the question this way. I think where I am today is the height of my accomplishment. I use all the skills and experiences I have in a mission-driven organization. I am in a phase of my life where I've always done what I believed was right, but I had to, I was a representative of the Harris Bank, and at the Harris, we, like a family, you do business a certain way. And now I can serve the community in a much broader way, and it really is a good feeling. It really, really is a good feeling. And, it's skills I have that I take for granted when I sit down with women business owners and we talk about revenue generation options, we talk about operational efficiencies, we talk about access to capital. I mean, those are the three things that all business owners worry about. And I have particular skills in that area, and it just feels really, really good to be able to support others in achieving those things.
Thank you. Maureen?
I think
the
I
height
have-
of your accomplishment, professionally, personally, whatever you want to say.
Well, I
That's what
have
we do.
two that I think of, and one of them is I feel proud that I was able to bring the company together as team members, because when I took over, there were certain camps, and that is not a way to work. You all have to come together as one team. But the biggest accomplishment was the financial stability that we have achieved over particularly over the last 10, 12 years. That has enabled us to do many, many things. And we have been able to reinvest back into the company. That has given our people the tools that they need to do a good job with. It has given us the opportunity to have our equipment looking good. It's given perks to the employees that have done a good job. And one of my favorite things is that when an employee has been with us for 30 years, we give them a trip to Hawaii with their spouse. And only problem is I've got a special account now because we had 8 of them that have, and now I got to start thinking about the 35th year present. But George and I are just, we have Rose, who has been with us on and off for like 40 years now. She's 85 years old, and she is my part-time secretary. She comes in 2 days a week. And we just came up, I finally fished out of her that she was born in Italy 85 years ago and came to the United States when she was 3 years old and never got back to Italy. So we're sending her to her hometown. So, but this, I'm not going to tell her about this being on the thing because I haven't told her yet. So, and if you don't have that discretionary money to do the things that you want to do to show people how you appreciate what they've done for you, it's awfully hard. So between the tools that you need to make your company prosperous and the tools that you need to thank the people who have helped you do it, that old thing of cash is king, I'm afraid, is so true. It's made our lives much easier. We make decisions now. It used to be if I made a $1,000 decision, it was the biggest decision of the month. Now, gosh, that's so. Those are the two that I treasure the most.